Hey YouTube, I'm Brick Smith, and welcome to Forever Sorting with Kevin Aloysius Hinkle, Inktober Master himself. Hey Kevin.
Oh, please. You're too kind.
I know.
You're too kind. Welcome back to another episode of Forever Sorting, everybody. Thank you for that wonderful intro, Julian.
You can't even look at it, can you?
I don't want to look at it. Oh man, when did we talk about this? Did we talk about it in Forever Sorting or Short Sort?
It was like 2 weeks ago.
We talked about drinking beverages.
Since then.
That's the same cup that you showed me earlier that you didn't wash.
Sure, Kevin, I washed it.
Yeah, I can't. I can't bring myself to drink out of a Figure Brick cup. I don't know. Maybe it's because I worked in the stores for so many years, and so I know how many cups get like handled and then put back and taken out and put back and taken out. Like it's not like this clean sleeve that you put out there and like people are they get handled by so many hundreds of people, and then you put all these like parts, and then the parts from the wall get manhandled all the time by everybody. And you could take it home and wash it. I mean, there's that. But it's just like, I just can't. I can't do it. I can't do it.
I know.
I am all about using them for sorting and storing and whatever kind of storage solution you want. I use them. I keep them. But like actually using it to consume food or beverage.
So let's talk about the truth right here. This is the first time I've ever drank out of one officially.
Let's talk about the truth.
For me, the lid or the circumference of the round there is too big for a drinking cup.
Yeah. Is the lip sharp?
No, it's actually pretty decent. That's not the issue. The issue is that when I turn up my drink, it gets in my mustache.
Unacceptable.
And there's a level like when I turn up, there's a level that I'm of liquid that's allowed to get in that mustache.
Yeah.
But that's definitely too high.
I got you.
Can you hear that?
Yeah. What was that?
That was the neighbor. That's how I woke up this morning. Somebody was hammering something. Now they're drilling something.
Okay. I thought it was your
knocking on the door.
I thought your phone was vibrating.
I wish. Nope.
There it is, everybody.
Not the phone.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine, Kevin. It's fine.
So, drinking out of Figure Brick cups aside.
Thank you, Joey, for proving that it's not that big a deal. It is not that big a deal. Kevin's just absolutely out of
I'm just weird.
Listen, it can't be any dirtier than a glass you get at Walmart. Think about the handling of those folks.
I know. It's true. I don't disagree. So yes, everybody, welcome back. Thank you for joining us again for another tale from us, your kindly co-host of this journey, which has thus far been about my life.
Which is not a boring situation. I've enjoyed it thoroughly.
I'm glad someone
ups and downs. It's had its good parts and bad. It's had those stories where I'm like, Kevin,
welcome to the Kevin Hinkle origin story.
There you go.
So as alluded to, I am Kevin Hinkle, your humble co-host to this tale of the Kevin Hinkle origin story. Yeah. Let's get our intro out of the way for our friend Reed, who gets very bored, very quick, and very agitated in our comments.
Reed,
we love
you. I don't know Reed to be that way.
So, guys, if you want to find me outside of this program, you can find me online at Mr. Kevin Hinkle on social media or kevinahinkle.com. I am a freelance artist for hire, always looking for new opportunities, new projects. So if you'd like to follow just my artwork, you can find me at Mr. Hinkle Draws. And that is also what my YouTube account is here, is Mr. Hinkle Draws. So, in addition to that, I do have a shirt service that I operate with Clutch, Bricks on the Dollar, just like this one right here.
Oh, did it wrong. I'm telling you, I'm off today, baby.
That's all right. To get more information about the A-Full shirts, it's Lego-inspired T-shirts. You can find that on bricksonthedollar.com. There's a monthly subscription where you get a brand new shirt mailed to you every month. You can also buy older designs, older by about 6 months, directly through our Amazon store, and we have a ton of new options for the Amazon store. So there's short sleeve, long sleeve, hoodie, baseball tees where it's got like the white shirt and the different color sleeves. We've got a lot of different things you can get with the older designs, which is actually really exciting. The links to that are still on bricksonthedollar.com.
Yep.
And last but not least, Bricks in the Middle, which is a comic series that I illustrate about Lego fans for Lego fans, that can be found on bricksinthemiddle.com or at BITM Comics. It is definitely a passion project for me. There is a few little ways I can make some money. If you like to check out the store, you can buy some shirts. And we have other products that are, sadly, we have passed our date to get uploaded to the store, but hopefully they will be soon. Yeah, it's a little bit more complicated. It turns out that I don't know how to do any of this stuff, for the record, but it turns out when you use a system online to drop ship shirts, where like you're not the person making them, but you use like a third party and you can order them and get them shipped out, incredibly difficult to integrate in items that I have in my home. That it's like, well, I'll sell you a minifigure and I'll just go take it downstairs and go upstairs and go take it to the post office. Those two systems don't talk to each other.
No, they don't like each other at all. And
so we've been trying for weeks.
That's why Worksmith only sells the stuff that he doesn't have his hands in.
Yeah. So, but I have them. We have stuff. And if you happen to be, well, actually, this will air after next weekend, won't it?
This is going to go live on the 12th.
On the 12th. So actually today,
woohoo!
Today, everybody, if you happen to be anywhere near the greater Philadelphia area, you can come and say hi to me. I'll be at Comic-Con for Kids.
Beautiful.
Which is my first time ever to have an artist table at an event.
Love it.
And I'll have the Bricks in the Middle enamel pins and the minifigs for sale there, as well as a lot of other stuff. But yeah, come check that out. Comic-Con for Kids. I've got information on my social media, and you can also just Google Comic-Con.
The thumbnail will be a map of the convention center with Kevin's, where Kevin will be.
Face.
That is where my thumbnail will be next week. So get to the chopper.
That's awesome. Does that mean I don't have to?
No, artists, do your work. But we're going to leave that up there until after the con, and then we'll change it to a regular wallpaper or a regular thumbnail.
I'm down. I'm game.
It's what we need to do.
I'm game. Something else I want to take just a couple minutes and address. Julian, in his wonderful introduction, said the Inktober Master.
What?
And so if you, dear listeners here on YouTube, have zero idea what that means and what he's talking about, over on Instagram, all 7 days now of the month, and it will keep going through the entire remainder of October, I have been hosting a 15 to 20 minute live stream on my art account on Insta. What's that?
I said sorry about last Friday.
No, it's okay because there's not a time.
Right.
I dedicate 15 minutes every day to draw something, good old fashioned pen and paper, for Inktober, which is an artist initiative. Like, think of like Shiptember in the Lego community, but it's for artists drawing things with old school ink. And so I've been doing that all through the month. There is no time. It's kind of whenever I get like the house to myself for like 15 minutes. Or like the kids are upstairs and they're not being super crazy. But it goes up every day. The live, obviously the story stays in the story for 24 hours if you want to see it. But I am creating a new sketch, just, pretty small, 5x7 every day of a different character I pull out. That's the stuff that's off the screen behind me. All of those drawings will be for sale, all of them. Nice. So at the end of the month, after I've gotten a chance to scan them all in, so I have evidence that they existed, they will be offered up if anyone has any interest. I know 2 of them have already had people reach out saying, "Can I buy that?"
Nice.
Which is super cool.
It feels good, Kevin. That feels good.
It's good. It's like, yeah, it's good stuff. So yeah, if you see any through the duration of the month that you're like, oh, that's kind of cool, feel free to like post in the comments saying, hey, if this is available, I'd like to take it. They'll probably be $20 each is what I'll go with. And they're pretty small, so I can throw them in an envelope in the mail. So yeah, that's what Inktober means. Come check it out. I've actually never successfully completed an Inktober.
Well, now you got to now. You're on the internet.
And that's why I did it. Because I'm like, this is gonna force me to be consistent.
Yeah.
I've started Inktober and I got like 1 weekend and then I fall apart.
Nice.
And so that's another thing too. Here's another point to it. Inktober is not, I mean, make a piece of content, make a work of art every day for the month. And so most people do what they normally do. If you're normally an artist that spends 20 hours or whatever on your piece of artwork, you're going to spend 20 hours doing it. And I'm like, I don't got time for that. And so I figured I have a lot of fun with my doodle stream that I host on my channel.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, how can I take that and kind of glorify that for Inktober? So I got a bunch of suggestions out of my mind from things I like, film I like, television, video games. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to randomly pull one out every day. There is more names in the bowl than there are days in the month. So there are about 6, I think, that they're not going to happen.
All right.
Which I find kind of fascinating. It's like, okay, we'll see what happens. And I dedicate exactly 15 minutes and 15 minutes only every day. So it's actually, I like it. I like it because it's pretty easy to go, oh, I could do that. And here's also to tangent from the tangent. Our good buddy Zebrix, he was watching some of my videos. He goes, man, I'd sure like to do it, but I just don't have the time with school. And I told him, I was like, Z, I call him Z. I go, Z, I only take 15 minutes every day. That's it. Yeah. You could take 5 minutes if you wanted.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I didn't think of that. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And the next day, he posted his first Inktober drawing.
Nice.
And I was also amazed that he like took the concept of putting the names in the bowl almost verbatim. I was like, that's exactly like me. But imitation is the highest form of flattery.
There it is.
But I was trying to, just convey that you don't have to put 10 hours into each thing. It's just being consistent and finishing it, I think, is the goal.
Yeah.
So I'm done 6 in. I've got 1 to do later today, but so far so good. So that's what that means. That's what the whole Inktober thing is about.
So Kevin, I gotta touch on something. I gotta talk about something.
Yes, please take the stage.
Yeah, I gotta. Hey, Lego family.
Hello,
I'm Rick Smith. As you can see, my name has changed to Breast Cancer Awareness Month right here.
Boom.
If you guys don't know, every penny of ad revenue and all super chats and all shirt. I have a shirt store. See, there. Kevin drew that.
That's a good one right there.
Yeah, good one. All shirt revenue. We get a nominal. Is it nominal the right word, Kev? Nominal amount of money.
Sure.
Off of sales on shirts. All of those are going to the Susan G. Coleman Foundation for Breast Cancer Research for the month of October. Unfortunately, this is not live, but you can just check out the ads and let them run.
Yep.
That will be a way to help us make money. As of the date of recording, we have
we have a hype horn.
We have a hype horn. We have made. Let me look. Bear with me. We have made $19.17. I really, really appreciate that. And here is the crazy of the crazy. If we hit $1,000, I'll shave my beard off.
I can't handle it.
And I'm not pretty without the beard.
I'm not pretty.
Not pretty without the beard. So
I have been is fortunate the right word? I have been given the opportunity to see this man without a beard. I got the photograph and I was like, who's this picture? Why did Julian send me this? I honestly had no idea who. I thought it was maybe a relative of yours.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
Is this like a great uncle?
Yeah. So I'll do it for the cause. I don't really want to do it but I'll do it for a G. So if you guys are watching this, tune into the live streams. Go ahead and turn the bell icon. Let you know when I go live. I'll stay live long enough for you to show up and donate. and Kevin, if you're here for Kevin, and I know there's a lot of people that are here for Kevin can vouch for me. I'm good for the money.
Yeah, we've done a good 70 things episodes together for a year. I think he's all right. He's all right.
We're gonna after the month is over, sometime in November, we're going to do a video where we actually donate the money live.
Okay, nice.
So that everybody can see that every single penny that was donated.
It's too bad you can't have a giant like novelty cardboard check
to give to myself.
To like hand, like that's the whole. Maybe we can make one anyway.
I feel like that episode of The Office where they made the check and it was $30 more than what they had or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, breast cancer and breast cancer have affected everyone that is listening. You have had somebody in your family or know a relative or a coworker or a friend or anything, there's somebody that's been affected. So
yeah,
now it's time to shine, folks. Now it's time to shine.
Time to shine. That's a very nice thing you're doing, Julian.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm not doing it for good points. I'm doing it because it needed to be done. And I was like, how can I raise money? And then I was like, I'll just give them money that I earned.
There it is. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
For the cure. For the
cure. Hashtag for the cure. True, sir. Awesome. Yeah, that was 20 minutes.
All right, and we'll see you guys next time.
Reed is ripping out what little hair he has left if he hasn't already just turned it off.
So good. So we as I try to do each time we record, I went back and skimmed the last episode. I tend to not just that was my motion sickness. Watch the whole or listen to the whole thing again, but I'll do like the first 15-20 minutes and then I'll pick a spot in the middle and then I'll do the last 15 or 20 minutes. And so I know we were talking about my trips in 2014 to Brazil and to the new shows, to the first year shows. That's what we were talking about, and that was in 2014.
Right.
So moving off of that, so when we go from the bridge to 2014 to 2015, I mean, we're getting close to today. I mean,
well, you say that, but it's at the end of 2019, so.
I know. It's like I said, and then 40 episodes later. So what's really important, I think what's probably the most important thing to keep in mind from, when did it start? I guess maybe summerish time in 2014 to the end of the year was something that a project, I guess, if you will, that Keith and I were working on. And that was that I don't know if I maybe said the right thing or done the right thing or caused enough or whined enough that he was ready to hear me out in terms of bringing on someone to help me in the Americas for the community.
Oh my.
But he wasn't 100% sold.
Yeah.
And he said that he wasn't the one that needed to be sold anyway. It needed to be Tormund.
Oh, Tormund, our best friend, Tormund. I got you.
And I was like, oh no. But so he explained to me that the way it worked for our department is, we were essentially in the Lego system pretty small. We were a ragtag team of rascals that are here to talk to fans and usually be a nuisance. Usually be a nuisance to most people in the company. And so because we were so small, the department would get a lot of stuff that would just be on a department level, meaning a budget for the department, resources for the department, and then the department head would have to allocate it to the different teams in the department. So you could ask a vice president to give you 2 new resources, 2 new people for the next year. And they could say, sure, here you go.
Nice.
But then it was up to the director of the department to allocate where those people went. So this is when things really started clicking to me about what had been happening over the last several years in terms of like, as I mentioned on this program before, the operations team, the team of community managers that are boots on the ground out there talking to fans, and the people running the Lego Lug Bulk program were generating revenue. And so the department was earning money. And so then the department head would say where that money would go. And so that's when all the money would be taken from us and given towards the development of Lego Rebrick and towards the development of Lego ideas. And I think I've mentioned this before, but just in case, I'll remind everyone, Lego Ideas did not start as a part of the community department. Lego Ideas was originally Lego Kuso, a co-branded partnership between the Lego Group in Japan and Kuso, a crowdsourcing company in Japan that helped businesses and brands. And it started as a part of Lego called New Business Group. That area of the business doesn't exist anymore. It was basically blown up a couple years before I left Lego. And so it got kind of reallocated and re-evolved, but New Business Group doesn't exist anymore. But it was kind of like this incubator is what they like to say. They like to call themselves the startup within the giant company.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, that also meant that they gave a lot of headaches to a lot of people, probably more than the community team did. So that started there. And when things started to blow up, Lego Kuso moved into the community department because the community team was this catch-all. Like, well, we don't know where to put it. Put it in the community.
There you go.
Kind of like how, if you guys remember, I was talking about how social media was born in the community team.
Oh, everything was born. If it was new, it was born there.
Yeah. I can't remember if I told you guys this, but the Lego Club was born in the community team.
No, I think
like the like the kids magazines and stuff like that. That was well before my time, but it was born in the community team, and that was 100% verified. Even the current manager for the Lego Club in the U.S. I remember one time she was like, "Did you know that our whole area of the business was born in your department?" And I was like, "No, I did not." So it was confirmed by 2 accounts.
Wow.
But so we inherited Lego Ideas. I talked about that before. And so we had that. So I was learning that we as a department were actually doing really good. We were earning a lot of money through Lugbolt. We were showing that the fans had a pretty big impact on consumers with their reviews online, with blogs, with forums, with YouTube channels. We were showing them that they were attracting and promoting the Lego brand to millions of people a year at their lug shows and expos. The business, the vice president of marketing, was seeing that and was saying, "You're absolutely right. Here's more people. You're absolutely right. Here's more money." And they were doing that every year. What I didn't realize, because I was just disgruntled going, why don't we ever get money? Why don't we ever? Is that the department was always getting it and always funneling it to Lego Ideas and Rebrick every time.
Wow.
And so that was what we called in the team the shiny object. That was the moth to the flame.
Yeah.
And so we were always kind of we nicknamed ourselves the Pirates. We were the Pirates, the community managers, me and Yan and Kim and Keith to an extent. And also, to my great delight, they decided that they had Keith and Yan and Kim, all of 3 of them in Billund. Still me for half of the world, please. Keep that in mind. They decided they need more help in Billund.
Obviously.
So they hired, they created a brand new role called Community Operations Specialist.
Nice.
And that was kind of a very glorified shipping coordinator role. So with the community, with lugs, with shows, there's a lot of stuff to ship. There's a lot of logistics. Yeah. And apparently that was taking valuable time away from the community managers if they had to ship boxes all the time.
Yeah.
So again, you know, I'm trying
last week about how the shipping was miserable for you.
Right, for Latin America. And so I'm going to try to be as not as snippy as I want to be, but I am once again sitting there I am like, how, in what reality, in what show am I watching where anybody from an outside perspective is going to look at this going, well, Kevin's over here supporting half of the world 100% by himself. And over here, we have two community managers, a community senior manager, and now we need to bring another operations person to support them because clearly they're overworked.
Yeah, obviously they're overworked.
I mean, I was so baffled.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like I said, I didn't keep my mouth shut. I brought it up as often as I could. I did it in underhanded kind of comments and meetings like, well, I mean, you guys have help in billing, so. I mean, I would say stuff like that all the time because I truly didn't understand. But so a couple of things happen. Some good things, surprisingly enough, some good things happen. Apparently, Keith was going to help me. This is my boss. This is senior manager for the team. He was going to help me make the case that we needed somebody in infield to help me. But he needed cold, hard facts. Because me anecdotally complaining and waving my hands for a year wasn't good enough, or for 2 years wasn't good enough. So he said, we're going to do something. I want you to track all of your hours. And I was like, what? I was like, okay. I mean, I am like, how many yawn punching a clock at this point? I mean, I've been on salary for however many years. I mean, as soon as I became, an assistant manager, I was on salary in retail.
Okay.
So I mean, I've been on salary forever. And I was like, you want me to punch a clock? He's like, no, you don't need to punch a clock. But I want you to start keeping record of all the hours you spend working and what you spend the hours on. It's like, oh, you're giving me another thing to do. Like that's what you're doing. You're giving me another thing to do. And that's how my reaction and my spirit was on a lot of things. Because I felt like I was just absolutely drowning. Yeah. And I remember multiple times saying in meetings, I feel like I'm 12 feet underwater. And even if you guys help me, you're just going to move me up to 3 feet underwater. Moral of the story, I'm still dead. Like it doesn't make any, who cares? I mean, I said that multiple times. And, you know, it was always met with whatever response. Oh, you know what? Actually, before I get too far into that,
whoa, folks,
mini flashback. When they were hiring for Keith, for my boss, I had already been working. You know, Tormund was my interim boss, but I had just been doing it myself for a good, 6 to 9 months or whatever like that. And I'm sitting there going, wow, I had flashbacks to me working in the store, being like the temporary store manager of Colorado Mills for 3 months. And then when it came time to apply for the manager, they were like, well, you weren't good enough. I was like, well, I was good enough to run it for 3 months. So I'm a little confused. I mean, yes, it all worked out in the end, but still, sure. I was having flashbacks to that going, well, here I am running half the world by myself as a coordinator, or I guess as a senior community coordinator at that point. Why can't I do it? Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
And the role was originally an infield, and the job posting, as I told you guys, which was, yes, in the end, a lie, but the job posting said it could be infield or billing. It could be based in either. That was what the job listing said. That was never going to happen. But I when I took one of my trips to Billund, which was now twice a year at this point, I said, I am going to talk to Tormund. I'm going to walk in his office. I'm going to tell him I would like to apply for that job. I set it up. I put the meeting on his calendar, put it in his books. Yeah. It was near the trail end of one of my trips to Billund, so I'd already been there for maybe a week, I think. I was getting ready to go home the next day or 2 days from then. I walk in, and I kid you not, I can't make this stuff up. I walk into the room. He didn't really know what I was going to talk about. I just said, let's catch up.
Yeah.
Right? I walk into his office. He had a very nice office. I walk into his office, and he goes, how are you doing? A little bit of small chat. And like the first thing he goes is, we have the job listing up for the senior manager. And I really want to make sure it's somebody who is outside of our department.
Wow.
I mean, like, it was almost like as if he knew straight up what I was about to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't know if he did. I mean, I had mentioned it to Yan and Kim because I didn't want to blindside them that I was applying to be their boss.
Yeah.
So I felt like it was somewhat, professional to at least talk to them about it. And so I did. And I don't know if they told. Oh, there's the fire alarm. Can you guys hear the fire alarm?
No, not yet.
There's that little dip.
Yeah,
it's there. Sorry. This is where I live. So I don't know if they told him in conversation or whatever. I really don't know one way or the other. But he went straight up saying, nope, I don't want anybody to take that job. What's in our department. I want to go outside of the he's like, I either want to go outside the company or I want to go outside the department. And I was like so deflated.
Yeah, imagine.
Like I had my chest puffed up and I was like, I'm going to go in. I know he failed me before, but I'm going to go in. I'm ready. And I was going to say, I will. And I'm not even asking, give me the job. I'm saying, I'm just going to let you know I'm going to apply for it.
Yeah.
That was it. That was my goal. And this was to apply for the role that Keith would end up taking, the senior manager for all the community managers, what Jim previously held, which was now vacant and was going to be taken by Keith.
Yeah, I want to tell you this. I personally would have applied anyway.
Yeah, I know. But
I don't know if you did or you didn't, but that would be all right, well, listen here, MFer, I'm going to apply for it.
Yeah. And here's an interesting thing. Here's some of the nitty gritty that I think a lot of our listeners really like.
You think they like it? I think they like it too.
Because people they eat it up. They're for all my time working at Lego, for all 12 years in marketing and community management and retail, Lego has a really probably not unique, but kind of a backwards way about hiring and promoting and stuff internally.
Yeah.
So it's always.
Oh, that siren killing it.
Yeah, it goes on. It goes on. It'll stop. It's all the volunteers can run out and go find whatever. So there was a long track record of people that I was close friends with, people that I was just associated with, people that I was just colleagues with, where they wanted jobs. They would talk to the hiring manager or the current boss or their potential boss. Mm-hmm. And it was always this rule, an unwritten rule, that if you wanted to apply for something out of your department, you needed to talk to your boss and tell them, I'm going to be applying for this job. Legally, you didn't have to. And in the HR paperwork, you didn't have to, because that was a lot of people are leaving because they get sick of their boss. That's why they leave.
Sure.
They get sick of their boss, and so they want to jump the team and go to a different team. But the unwritten rule was you had to talk to your current boss and see if your current boss was going to be okay with you leaving. And then you had to talk to the potential boss, and then that potential boss would talk to your old boss. It's this very weird, murky office politics nonsense.
It feels that way.
And it happened all the time. People I knew, like I said, close people, friends, all the time would be like, well, so-and-so told me not to apply. You know how many times I heard that in my career there?
Frustrating.
Probably 50 times.
Wow.
Where people were they wanted to get out for whatever reason they had, and they would talk to their current boss and or the potential new boss, and they would say, I just don't think you're good for it. Just don't apply. And I'm like, what kind of message does that send your workforce when you're constantly telling people to not even bother applying?
That's terrible.
I'm like, you know what? So what? If they're not good for the job or not a good fit, just let them apply. Let them have the experience.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even have to interview them. But like, just, I thought the most defeating thing, the most detrimental thing to your staff was to tell them, don't even bother applying.
Yeah.
And it happened constantly. Happened in retail, especially, where people would like to want to move up to assistant manager of different locations. They would constantly be told by district managers, no, I don't think that role's right for you. I wouldn't bother applying. And I'm just like, wow, what a load of garbage.
That is. Did you ever tell anybody not to bother?
Huh?
As a store manager, you ever tell anybody?
No. No.
I don't think that'd be good.
No. And what's ironic is your advice to me, I would tell the people all the time. I would say, well, just apply anyway. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're not going to get it. Yeah. But like, I didn't do it myself because, we rarely do the advice we follow. Like, we rarely follow the advice we give.
Absolutely.
I didn't do it. But that was a mini flashback I just had. And I don't think I said that before, but maybe I did.
That's the first time I've heard that, and I can vouch.
Okay, good. So
I've never heard that ever.
Okay, good. Keith's like, let's track your hours so we can make the case of how hard you're working. And I'm like, okay. So I had to keep a Excel spreadsheet where I would quite literally track my hours.
That's dumb.
If I came in and I spent an hour on email, I spent an hour on email. And I have to go into the thing and go, I spent 1 hour answering email, which was called operational excellence. I think was the corporate speak for checking email.
Oh, wow.
That's just like doing day to day, right? You call it operational excellence, I think. Every time I heard these, don't even think I wasn't rolling my eyes. I'm like, this is so dumb. If I spoke to an ambassador, like a lug ambassador, I would need to label that. I need to track that and label how long was that phone call? What did we talk about?
Wow.
And even drilling further into the emails, like, yes, I spent an hour checking emails, but how many of those emails were like internal emails from like Lego to Lego? How many of those emails were me to a fan? How many are those to me to like a, what was it called? Like a unsolicited, like somebody who's not an ambassador, not in a club, but like, I got your email because I met you once upon a time at Brickworld Chicago 2011.
Wow.
Which I got a lot of those. And after the 9 or whatever months of tracking hours, it wasn't one full year, but I remember.
9 months.
Huh? Yeah.
You did the crap for 9 months?
It was pretty terrible.
Dude, I was thinking like 2 weeks. I was thinking on the outside.
Yeah.
Freaking almost a year, 3/4 of a year. Lego. What the hell?
It was at least 6 months. At least 6 months.
What in the hell?
Yeah. I found out through that. Well, I mean, I found out a lot of things. So I'll save that to the end. So
please.
I tracked. What was my time spent on? And like, I asked a lot of like, I mean, I was drilling into the details with this. Yeah. I said, okay, all right. Here's the thing. I'm at home. And I get a phone call at 8 o'clock at night from the lug ambassador from one of the Florida area groups.
Sure.
Do I log that? And Keith's like, absolutely. You worked.
I agree with that too.
I'm like, okay. And I don't disagree with that either.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, Keith, I need you to understand the gravity of the situation. You are thinking I am walking in here and I'm doing my 8 to 4 and I go home and oops, maybe once a week I get a phone call at night. That is not the reality.
Nope.
I am working all day, every day. And he never really grasped that until I started handing in reports is when he started getting it. And so he'd be like, well, I don't understand. It says you worked for an hour this morning from 6 to 7. I'm like, I did. He's like, well, what did you do? I said, I was listening to a podcast while I was at the gym on the treadmill. And he's like, well, that's not working. I'm like, it absolutely is working. I was listening to the people I'm paid to represent, and I was hearing their opinions on whatever, of whatever was happening that day. Is that not what I'm going to be asked for in a meeting later that day when marketing wants to know what do the fans think of X? And he's like, oh, you got a point there. I'm like, then I was working.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I could have easily pulled up some movie on my phone, but no, I chose to listen to a fan podcast on whatever, YouTube, while I was at the gym. So I was working. And he's like, yeah, you're right. I was like, okay. And he'd be like, well, it also, you had an hour logged at 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, yep. I had an hour-long phone call with the ambassador from Hawaii. He was like, well, why did you take it at 9 o'clock at night? I'm like, because we're 6 hours time difference.
Yeah.
And I mean,
just because it's, 2 o'clock his time, you can't punish him for it.
Yeah. And I can't like, what game am I going to win if I just say, sorry, call me during my hours of operation? Like, I'm not going to get my task done, and I'm going to just prolong this for weeks at a time.
Yeah.
So I need to take the call when the calls happen.
That's it.
And they happen all the time, constantly. I mean, to their credit, people are usually like, I'm sorry, I know it's late. I'm like, it's fine. What are we talking about? And so I started turning these in, and he's like, Kevin, this is blowing my mind. Like, I mean, you potentially have like 14 to 16 hour days every day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, boss. It kind of seems like what I've been telling you all for 2 years. I was like, I don't understand. I don't get it. But so it was pretty fascinating. Keith actually, he was a numbers guy. He was a numbers guy. He was a reports guy. As I've said before, he's like a very, process oriented. And so when he was getting the results from me doing this, he was like, wow, I would love to do this with the rest of the team. And so Kim and Yan started having to track their hours too.
Thanks,
they were not happy, and it was a very much a thank you, Kevin harder situation.
Yeah, you ruined it. Yeah, we were doing fine. Guys, come on, Kevin.
Don't blame me.
Got to be screwing stuff up.
Don't blame me. And so, but they did. So we started tracking it, and yeah, it was pretty fascinating seeing the difference in their hours and my hours. Of course, the other thing too that needed to be tracked was travel, and travel was not just, when am I there and when am I not there. Travel includes going to the airport. Mm-hmm. Travel includes going through security, sitting on the plane, being at an hour or 2 hour layover. These things count. And a lot of times when we would have disagreements, because now the whole team is tracking hours.
Yeah.
We would have disagreements of what should be counted and what should not be counted. And so we would have to get Keith's opinion on that. And then usually how it would go is all three of us community managers would think one thing, Keith would think a different thing.
Oh,
and so we would have to pull Tormund in, and he'd be like the deal breaker. But so travel was counted 100% from the moment I put my bags in the car to drive to the airport. I start tracking hours.
Oh, okay.
Because that's my trip.
Sounds reasonable.
Well, why would I be doing the drive unless I'm going somewhere for Lego? Yeah. So you start tracking it. So, I mean, trips became these monstrous sucks of hours.
Yeah.
It's like if I'm going to be at a BrickCon for 4 days, day and a half, 2 days, day and a half, like that could turn into 70 hours of time.
Yeah.
For travel, from being on there. And also the day of, Keith really had no idea how much time we spent at the shows. He thought, he thought we would get to the show, we would, have breakfast in the hotel or whatever and get ready and, stroll over at a reasonable time, maybe 10. And we'd be there for the show for 4 hours, 5 hours, maybe 6.
Yeah.
Have a meal or two with some fans. And then, definitely no more than 8. Definitely no more than 8.
No, of course.
But, around that 6 to 8 hour mark, we would call it a day and go back to the hotel and relax. And I mean, all three of us, this was so during the time of tracking hours and really trying to get Keith to understand our jobs. This is when me and Kim and Yan bonded closer than we've ever had been.
Nice.
Because we became brother in arms. Like, we all do the same thing, and we need you to understand what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were like constantly in these meetings, like, no, you realize like we get up early for a show because that's the responsible thing to do.
Yeah.
And we have breakfast, and guess what? Breakfast is usually not alone. It's usually with fans.
For sure.
We don't even plan it that way. Like, for example, look at the way we met, Julian. You remember how we met? I'm staying in this hotel because I'm going to Philly Brick Fest. I got to eat breakfast. I got to go downstairs. And people are like, that's Kevin over there.
Yep, that was happening.
Because there's whatever, 100, 200 fans that are probably in the same hotel.
Yeah,
and guess what? Even if I sat alone, I'll be sitting there with my plate of eggs or whatever, and someone, hey, Kevin, good to see you. Oh, hey, what's your name from whatever lug? How are you? Good. Do you mind if I join? Not at all. So I'm already working. It's 8 a.m. and I'm already working. And I would sit there and have breakfast, go change, brush teeth, whatever, go to the show. When am I leaving the show? Maybe midnight? Potentially? Maybe 1? And he had a huge problem understanding that. He was like, I don't understand. You guys are working yourselves to death. And we're like, no, we're not. We're doing our jobs. We are paid to talk with fans, engage with fans. This is our people. This is when we have everyone here in one place at one time, and we would be fools and we would be inappropriately wasting the company's money by not engaging with every person while we're here. And that's what we did. We would talk with people. We would answer their questions. We would have meals with people. We'd have coffee with people. We would get pulled aside 100 times to have private conversations about things that don't even really matter, but they think they're super, super important. And we would engage. And so he really started to get enlightened. But he also started to push back on a lot of things.
Yeah.
One of our big civil team was Keith said, I no longer want you guys pulling 14, 15, 16-hour shifts at the shows.
No.
So now keep in mind, I'm still salty that I got taken from like 13 or however many needed to go down 60. I'm already salty about it.
Yeah.
And now saying when I'm at the show, I should be working no more than 8 hours per day. And that I should leave and go sit in my hotel room. And I'm sitting going, how stupid. Like, how dumb is this?
Yeah.
And it was such a contrast to the conversations I had with Jim when Jim hired me. And he was very clear. It was like, the company is paying money for you to be at this show to engage with as many fans as you can. You represent the brand, do PR, do community management, do whatever you need to do, but you better be there, and you better be there all day. He was very clear about it. He's like, we paid for you to be there. Don't kill yourself. If you need a break, take a break. You need to go have time alone, have time alone. But while you are there to talk to these people. So talk to these people. Don't run away. Don't hide. And here we are years later now. And Keith's like, well, when you get to 8 hours, I want you to go hide.
All right.
We're just like, what? So when it was said and done, when I kind of finished my, I can't remember how long it was. It's like 6 months, 9 months, somewhere in there. When I finished and I turned it in, Keith and I took a meeting, took a room with whiteboards, and we sat down and we said, what is it that you're doing? And good news is the numbers showed me and him and everybody that Kevin Hinkle, the person you were talking to before you, was working the equivalent of 2.5 full-time employees.
Good Lord. So
not only was I like, wow, big surprise. We lost Jim and I took all of his workload. Surprise, I'm working 2 people's jobs. I had gained a half a person. somewhere there's a half a person. So I was like, I mean, that was like a do or die time for me. I'm sitting there in Denmark, of course, in a meeting room with my boss with 6 to 9 months worth of my life on a whiteboard. And I'm sitting there going, if you're about to tell me after all of this that I'm still crazy, that I'm still just overreacting, and I'm just not being comfortable with being busy, I'm going to lose it.
Yeah.
I am going to lose it. And Keith sat there, and I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't know the response. I didn't know how he was going to react. We had been having check-ins along the time. Like I said, we had arguments about how much time you should spend at an event, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But this was it. This was like the report. Here it is. Here's my life. Here's what all the time is going on.
Report.
He sat there and he goes, I think we need to get you some help. I think the clouds parted and the angels were singing.
I think so.
They were Danish angels.
Hey.
Oh, I was like, I think I blanked out. Like, what? What did you say? Say it into my good ear.
Help.
Say it in my good ear. So, so Keith was going to start the process of putting together a position. We had to, as I told you before, Jim's old role as a human slot, as an FTR, a full-time resource in infield, was taken by Tim, who was on the Lego Ideas team. So like the space in real life that a human being occupied was given to someone else. The role, like the job description and the role, was plucked and moved to Billin, which is what Keith took. So they really kind of just dissolved this. So it was apparently a little trickier than I could imagine, saying, well, okay, let's hire someone. Let's get to it.
Yeah.
As Keith had to recreate the role that no longer existed anymore. Wow. So he needed to write a job listing. He needed to have a position profile involved to say the details. What will this person be in the hierarchy? Will they be a manager? Will they be a coordinator? Will they be whatever? What are the pay rate going to be? Where do they sit? What desk do they occupy? I mean, you have to like create it from scratch.
Yeah.
So he's like, we're going to do this. But in the meantime, I have an idea. I want to talk to customer service. Customer service is based in infield for the US at least. There are hundreds of people there. I think we might be able to do something in the short term to help you while we try to get someone long term.
Oh.
And that, there is no better cliffhanger to end on than that, folks.
I love it.
And so that, because I like to get us where we're at, that is 2014 to 2015. We're in that 2014, 2015, like spring 2015 time, where all that had been taking place. I am supposedly going to get help, but there's still a little time to wait on that. But there's something in the short term. I don't really know what that means. And the team in Billin has grown again. And she's still there. So I don't want to use her name. But she is still there. She's the operations specialist.
Name.
Huh? He's fine. He's fine.
He'll be all right.
He's all right. But yeah, so the team, my team, the operations team, now has me still in infield, and
that's it.
And 4 people in Billin for the other half of the world. So yeah, there we go, everybody. That's the story for today. Just under an hour in. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Oh, hey, look, private chat. So, all right, guys, that's what I got for you today. As always, I've got Julian over there,
and I got Kevin right.
Touch the fingers.
I bet if we did this, we could touch them.
Boop. Beep.
Beep, boop, beep.
All right. That's enough of that. All right, everybody.
From all of us here at Forever Sorting, to all of you at home, remember.
I always like to cradle the duck.
Cradle the duck.
Gotta sort those bricks, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Be careful.
See you next time.
Bye. Be careful with